Hey witches and warlocks, here are some recommendations to get you started on your terrifying Spooktober month. What Moves the Dead by T. Kingfisher. I will not be spoiling the story because it is a story that we are all familiar with if you're somebody who likes and studies the work of Edgar Allan Poe. Now there are various trigger warnings in this book, the biggest ones being animal death and suicide. There's also misgendering and misogynistic values in it indicative of the 1800s era because the author is paying homage to The Fall of the House of Usher, published in 1839. What Moves the Dead is essentially a retelling of that story, or an extension of it if you already know how the story ends. It's a very spooky read, and the book cover is pretty, so why not? Long Live the Pumpkin Queen by Shea Earnshaw. Follows the journey of Sally Finkelstein, now Skellington, since she and Jack do get married and Sally is crowned the new queen of Halloween Town. This novel plays as a sort of rite of passage for Sally, stepping into the shoes of becoming a monarch and truly embracing the role by the end. Act 1 starts off strong as a lot of people who have read and reviewed the book and are also fans do agree that this is how we imagined Jack and Sally would spend their time together after getting married. And then Act 2 decided to take a sleigh ride and go way into Oblivion Town. I'm just going to say that this is a particular version of what could happen after the story we all know and love. I do recommend this book, but I feel that I should put a disclaimer because depending on where you stand politically, a part of this book could rub you off the wrong way. And I really do mean that because I feel that I am not in a position to talk about a subject matter. That matter being a specific monarch that has affected a lot of lives. And I think it's fair to inform people that Sally does end up in London, England at one point. The Ballad of Black Tom by Victor Laval. I love this book. First and foremost, the most important thing about this book is that it is written by a black author and he has delved deep into H.P. Lovecraft stuff with the story. And if you don't know the truth about H.P. Lovecraft is that guy was a downright racist in his time, and people of color being inspired by his work and turning the pain he has caused them into something that is meaningful to them is something that I will always respect and commend people for, and Laval does it beautifully in the Ballad of Black Tom. This book has 2 awards for Best Novella, those being the British Fantasy Award and the Shirley Jackson Award. It is a revisit to H.P. Lovecraft's The Horror at Red Hook from the viewpoint of a black man named Charles Thomas Tester, a musician hustler from New York. Slewfoot, A Tale of a Witchery by Brom. I'm currently making my way
You're welcome.
through this book, and Brom is a wonderful author as he is an artist. The story is set in 1600s Connecticut and follows a young English woman, Abatha, who has recently been widowed due to her Puritan husband dying under strange circumstances. While I can't delve far too deeply into the story, this book has received a great amount of good reviews and is supposedly a tale reminiscent of the infamous Salem witch trials. Creepy Cross-Stitch, 25 Spooky Projects to Haunt Your Halls. If it's not already obvious, this isn't a novel, but I did get into cross-stitching recently. I've always been enamored by the art of cross-stitching and seeing people's work. I always saw cross-stitching as pixel art you can physically touch, and since getting into it, I quickly found out that it is a much cheaper hobby compared to cosplay. Evil Imps Animal Crossing. Evil Imp is a YouTube creator best known for his Animal Crossing short films, particularly the horror ones. The first time I saw his work, I was immediately hooked. Not only is he a great cinematographer, but also a great problem solver when it comes to the limitations of recording films on the Switch, and being able to make something truly unsettling out of the resources he has. If you don't already know his work but would like to check him out, I highly suggest starting with his Animal Crossing horror movie trailer. Denzel's Animal Crossing. Now don't reset your islands yet because we're not done with Animal Crossing. Another YouTube creator known in the New Horizons filmmaking community is Denzel. Their short films focus on the real-life horrors of what the Animal Crossing villagers go through when a user does certain things in the game, such as time traveling, landscaping, villager trafficking, and resetting one's island. Denzel presents the eerie reality of what our favorite villagers could be going through if they had a conscience that goes beyond the game's AI. The Backwater Gospel is a dark animated short film that I came across during my studies in classical animation, and it still stands to this day as my favorite short film. The story follows a tramp, the minister, and the undertaker and what they symbolize when a religion becomes too powerful and is used to control and strike fear into people rather than bring hope and remind others to do good. And to preface once again, this is a dark story. There's blood, gore, and a lot of violence that is animated beautifully, yet clearly communicates the brutality of what can happen as a result of religious indoctrination. If you have the stomach for something like this, I implore you to watch The Backwater Gospel. It is so good and it is still so underrated. Do you guys remember Katie Towell? If you do, you'll be frightened to know that she hasn't gone away. And if you don't know her, be prepared to fall into the rabbit hole that is Children Are Scary. Children Are Scary is a web series consisting of scary children, and are tales of either victory or misfortune. Mostly misfortune, depending on how you look at things. I remember watching and waiting for the release of new shorts from Towel during my teenagehood, and one of them was When Genevieve Ruled the World, which follows the story of a little girl named Genevieve and how she conquered the entire world. The intro to this short film is so cool because I still recall the marching drums that played. Towel was also one of the artists that influenced not so much my art, but the way I think in color theory, since I tend to use black and white a lot paired with an accent color like red, very much like she does. But her work is amazing, and if you've only discovered her through this video, her website is scary.com. Scary with a K. I hope that these recommendations will help you get started on your Spooktober month. And remember, be very afraid of the dark.